What's going on, everyone? So, Luka Doncic, he's having that body transformation. We're seeing all that. That is a beautiful thing. And there's a lot of talk about the 2027 season. Lakers are preserving and, trying to make sure that they line everything up for the 2027 season. And personally, I don't think that makes any sense, right? Obviously, Giannis, Jokic, if you know, and I've even talked about, right, there is the potential that the Lakers know. I mean, especially with Jokic, Luka and Jokic are like besties, right? So if anyone would know, it'd probably be Luka. But if the Lakers know that one of those two are coming, then sure, you wait, you preserve cap space. If you have to let Reeves walk, if you have to let whoever walks, you do it in order to make sure and ensure that you are in position to sign a Giannis or a Jokic, right? But I don't know if the Lakers really do know that. And based on the information that we know publicly, right? Because like I said, the Lakers might have inside information, but based on the information that we know publicly, we don't know if you're going to get either of them. And chances are, realistically, if you do land either of them, you're going to do so via trade, right? So the whole cap space thing, very rarely do guys like that end up hitting the free agency to where you can actually sign them. Usually it's a sign and trade, or, it's some type of trade scenario, right, where, Jokic will sign the extension, but if he gets traded to the Lakers first, that kind of thing, right? Well, I don't think it makes sense. Also, again, public information is that you're going to have to pay Austin Reeves anywhere from 30 to 50 million. On top of that, DeAndre Ayton, if he works out and he's great, are you just going to let him walk? Right? What happens if you don't end up with Jokic or Giannis? If you end up with Giannis, you could play Ayton and Giannis alongside each other, right? So I just don't think the whole 2027 cap preservation thing is going to really work and make sense. But what does Luka want, right? Every decision, everything the Lakers are doing is all centered on what does Luka want. All of the decisions that they've made thus far have all been, through Luka Doncic, right? The reason they traded for Mark Williams was because that was the guy that Luka picked, hand selected out of a handful of guys that the Lakers were trying to trade for. He wanted Mark Williams, supposedly, based on the reports, and they ended up going and getting him. Okay, well, what does Luka want as far as now in the foreseeable future? Well, according to Dave McMillan, he wants to win now, right? Dave McMillan spoke to somebody close to Luka and asked him, what is his mindset? Where is he at, right? Luka's doing the U.S. tour thing right now for the Jordan Brand 101 tournament. And, Dave McMillan said that, hey, it's very clear. Luka wants to win now. And this is a guy that just a year removed from him being in the NBA Finals. It's a guy that is putting in the work and the effort in order to put himself in a position to be the best version of himself possible. Which is why, again, I think if you're the Lakers, you go all in. Another star wants to come in a post-LeBron era. Guess what? That star is going to come. And if it's not Giannis and it's not it's not Jokic, it'll be somebody else. You have Luka, and if you have the proper pieces, it's why I've talked about, right? Like, if you build it, they will come. Talk about that all the time, right? If you have the quality in pieces and you have this structure of a team, you don't think that there's going to be a star that goes, if I go to that team, me, Luka, whatever, a Duthero ends up becoming something, Bronny James is this like elite point of attack guy, right? Like, whatever, just hypotheticals, right? You start building these things. You start putting together these positions, and you don't think that there's not going to be somebody that's like, get me to the Lakers. Of course there will, right? LeBron James came to the Lakers, and what happened? Anthony Davis said, get me to the Lakers, right? You don't think Bill Duffy isn't going to try to help and usher in, now we got 8, right? So the whole first it was 2026. And then I think everyone looked around and went like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And then the reports were like 2027. I think the reports are overblown. Personally, I think it's all just kind of noise, just stuff to kind of talk about like, oh, Lakers are, being patient for, 2027, right? Like, I think the Lakers, yes, they want to put themselves in a position. A lot of guys that they signed are big question marks. So you don't want to get like DeAndre, signing him to 2 years, right? That I get. I would have, at 8 million, I would have liked to sign him for longer, but realistically, he's probably not going to do that. Sign him to a 2-year deal. So that way, if it doesn't work out, you're not stuck. Now, if it does work out, then, now you can work out and sign him to that long-term deal, which you'd probably do regardless, right? Same thing with like a Jake LaRavia, right? Most of the signings that they have signed, yes, does line up with the 2027 season, but I also think a lot of it is based on, the unknown of these players, right? Jake LaRavia could end up being everything this team needs. I've talked about it. I'm very high on Jake LaRavia, right? He could end up being fantastic, and then you have to go. And yes, we might look back in hindsight and go, man, you should have signed Jake LaRavia longer, or you should have signed, Marcus Smart longer, or whatever, right? But again, there are so many risks. It's like you figure it out when the time comes when you have to make that risk. I'm not big on, the player ops, like certain contract structures that Rob Pelinka likes to make, but given the circumstances of the players that the Lakers signed this offseason, that I get and I understand, right? But if you're the Lakers, there is zero reason you don't push your chips in and go all in. Now, that doesn't mean you make a bad trade. Again, I still stand by no trade is better than a bad trade, and you still remain patient. I have no problems with the Lakers going into the season as is, right? And waiting for those right moves to come. But if that right move comes and it's something that, bleeds into 2027, who cares? You do it, right? The concern is if those 2027 things, sentiment is accurate, then, you could end up having a guy like a Herb Jones, just using him as an example. Right? Say you could go get a Herb Jones right now, but he's under contract beyond 2027 because he just signed a new extension, right? Like, at that point, it's like, would the Lakers not do it because they want to preserve cap space beyond 2020? Like, that, I think, is ridiculous, right? If you can get the right players, like the Andrew Wiggins situation. Again, I don't mind them going all in if it makes sense. Let's say Nikola Vucevic gets bought out and he wants to come to the Lakers, and, Chris Middleton is a guy that it was recently reported to wanting to, or could end up being another buyout candidate, right? Let's say those two guys are like a Jeremy Grant or something. Let's say you get two guys that come on the buyout market and it's like, okay, we can get both of these guys and we can go trade for Andrew Wiggins. Go do that, right? Again, wait for things to develop, right? There's still all these guys that could potentially be bought out and all that stuff. So I don't think you have to go rush to go make this big move. But you have Luka Doncic, who very likely is going to be the best version of himself that we have ever seen. And you have LeBron James, who is still training and posting highlight videos and looks as good as new, right? Like, you're a team that has 2 top 10 players. No other team has that. If you're the Lakers, like, nothing should be off limits in the name of contention. Austin Reeves even, right? Again, I like Austin Reeves, but if that move develops, again, not saying you trade him just to trade him, but if that move presents itself and it's like, this is the move that could potentially elevate us to win an NBA championship. You don't go, because we like Austin Reeves, we're not going to trade him. No, you trade him. Same thing with Rui, same thing with everyone. Anybody that's not named Luka Doncic and LeBron James, you keep. And everyone else is expendable to an extent. Again, it depends on what it is. And there are guys that are like DeAndre Ayton is probably the closest thing for the Lakers right now as untradeable, because the Lakers don't have somebody that can replace him. And he's the best option that the Lakers have right now in order to, contend at the center position. Now, if, you could go and trade DeAndre Ayton at the trade deadline and bring in Jokic, then yeah, sure, of course, right? But obviously that's unrealistic. I'm saying there's like a tier list, right? There's guys varying, but no one on this team, if the right move presents itself, should be off limits, because Luka wants to win. If Luka came in and was like, hey, I want to win, but I understand this is going to be a process coming to a new team, they're trying to build around, then, the Lakers I could see kind of, but no, Luka wants to, and if he signs that 4-year extension, right, my hope is that the Lakers look at that as a vote of confidence in order to now go make the moves necessary. I'm hoping that Luka extension is that first kind of domino to tip over that now gives the Lakers the confidence needed to go make a big splash or a big trade or a big move, right? Again, I don't want to make one just to make one, but if you can find those right moves, you do it. My nightmare, my concern is that he does that And the Lakers look at it as like, whew, okay, guys, we got more time, right? Let's unbuckle our pants here for a moment and just take a beat, right? Like, good job, everybody, right? We're full, right? Like, that's my concern, right? My concern is that you see the Lakers, instead of trying to push their chips in, kind of take a breather. Whoo, okay, we're good. We got Luka. We're good. And how they should approach it is going all in, making it happen, getting it done, right? Luka wants to win now. You win now. You win a championship right now, Luka's not going anywhere, because now he's also going to trust you and know that you're willing to do what it takes. Again, figure it out. Win it. If you can win this year, right? And then figure it out from there. Also, if you win this year, you might be able to keep LeBron. Even if you want LeBron to leave, again, if you win a championship and LeBron leaves or he retires, you don't think Jokic or Giannis isn't going to be like, dude, the Lakers just won a championship with, 43-year-old LeBron James. You don't think that, or 23 LeBron James, you don't think that I could just go in, plug in where LeBron is, and go win? Of course. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out as we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.